This chapter of One Punch Man sees the conclusion to the fight between Garo and Darkshine, and if you've seen my previous reviews, you may remember that I compared Garo to Venom, at least in terms of his appearance, but in this chapter, he is all carnage, and Darkshine is in trouble. And I love this first page here showing the face-off, the hardest versus the most terrifying. And there's one panel that just blew my eyes out of their sockets, guys. Like, it really showed the terrifyingness that is Garo. And that really ties into the theme of this when it comes to Darkshine especially, because in the last time we saw them in their fight, Darkshine was like he was on top. And then slowly over the course of the fight, as happens with Garo, Garo just basically uses him as a stepping stone. But as we see here, he's just wailing on him, and Darkshine is kind of able to take the hits, and he's able to kind of counterattack a little bit, and we see this signature giant fist, and this really reminded me of, I think, Tank Top Master? I get Master and Black Hole mixed up for some reason. But the signature Murata big fist against Garo. This is some cool stuff. But then Garo's like, you know what? I've seen this technique before. I'm gonna just duck under and just plow the crap out of you into this wall and destroy it. Like, such cool stuff. But Darkshine at this point forward is just kind of like, oh geez, like this guy, this guy's scary, okay? But Darkshine used to be a little scrawny little dork. And this is definitely relatable, especially if you were bullied as a kid because of your lack of physical gifts. And it really drives home like what working out and exercising can do for your self-esteem. And I know from firsthand experience, like I was bullied as a kid, and working out and getting into shape and doing all that stuff is definitely a big boost to one's confidence. Especially when you start off with a 5 kilogram dumbbell and then you go to 10 and then you're like at freaking arm curling tons of weight. I mean, I'm up to like 3 tons per arm, but no big deal. But I really do like this backstory that they go into, and it makes me like Darkshine a lot more. And what's interesting is that you think that, I mean, Darkshine looks like a black guy, but apparently, and I had heard this like in forums and stuff like that he's just really tanned. And it doesn't seem like he had a lot of hair, like a really shaggy head of hair, but like, does he shave it or did he lose it via training? It seems that he's more in line with like a Mr. Olympia, like Arnold Schwarzenegger type, who shaves everything, including his head. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't shave his head. But Darkshine actually really reminds me, especially when in the flashback of Lou Ferrigno. If you don't know who Lou Ferrigno is, he competed against Arnold Schwarzenegger numerous times in the Mr. Olympia competitions, and he used to play the Incredible Hulk back in the TV show. I wonder if that is the inspiration for this design, because maybe I'll put a picture of him up on screen here. But essentially, he just kept on improving and winning competitions until he became an S-Class hero. And as it explains, he looks for somebody who can push him to 100%. And last time we saw this fight, that's exactly what Garo did. He pushed him to go 100%. So during the course of this fight, as Garo is just plowing the crap out of him, I'm thinking, okay, so like, where is this narrative heading? Like, we see this flashback of him building his confidence along with his body. So essentially, his body is his like source of all of his confidence. So what happens when you break that down? What happens when he faces an opponent that he just can't, that he goes 100% against and still can't get the better of, like we see here? Like, this is like a terrifying moment for him, as we've seen in past chapters with the S-Class heroes finally feeling fear for the first time. And he's acknowledging the strength of Garo. And I'm thinking, okay, so this would be really cool for him to push himself, but since his confidence is so closely tied to his body and his physical strength now, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can push yourself past your limits, which happens a lot, or you can basically succumb to your fear, and that's unfortunately what happens with Darkshine. is that like the instant that little shred of insecurity enters his mind, it's like super hard to get rid of, especially when he's in the middle of getting the crap kicked out of him. And so unfortunately that starts to fester and grow, as things do, especially if you have any experience with anxiety. That's kind of what happens with anxiety. And you see this glorious image of Garo, like not only symbolize the foe that he's facing, but also symbolize the fear and anxiety that's just entering his body, that he's being overwhelmed with. And I really loved how this portrayed that. And he just yells out and starts lashing out at it. But I mean, it's not, I mean, A, it's not enough to stop Garo, and B, it's very unrefined. Like he's just swinging, like a wild swing is what it looks like here. And what's really interesting about this is that in Darkshine's fear, he kind of shows Garo, or Garo comes to the realization that this is not a fight anymore. This is essentially Garo being the bully, like the thing he hates most, other than heroes, of course. He hates bullies, right? And he gets this flashback of him being bullied as a kid, and then God, what's that kid's name with the mop top? Yeah, of him getting bullied, and he hates that, and he's basically become the bully in this situation. And you know, that's the outcome of the fight, is that Darkshine essentially lost, and we don't see what's come of Tatsumaki and her fight with Orochi Psychos until now. So whatever Tatsumaki is doing to counterattack Orochi Psychos is affecting these guys, however far away they are. And this is something else, because there is a shield around Darkshine, and I'm wondering if she's wanting to get all of the heroes out of that place, because as we've seen before, she kind of wants to just tear this entire place down, and that's probably what she's gonna do. As we'll probably see in the next chapter. So Darkshine has a protective shield around him. And another interesting thing here, which is a major attribute to Darkshine's character as a person, he still cares about Garo's well-being. He's like, hey, dude, you gotta run out of here. Like, he is still being a hero, even though Garo just beat the crap out of him. And he's essentially a bad guy, or should be a bad guy in Darkshine's eyes. But A, he probably respects him because he pushed him all the way to 100%, which nobody has done before. And of course, this shows that he's still a hero through and through. And it's interesting because even he doesn't seem to realize why he said that. Like, by all rights, he should be glad that this whole place is falling down on Garo. But it doesn't seem like he feels that way. But what are you guys' thoughts on the chapter in terms of everything, but especially with the dynamic between Garo and Darkshine, the bullying stuff? Really interesting and kind of deep chapter. So I really love to hear anybody's thoughts on the chapter. Please drop your thought waves down in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and take it easy.